Hello and welcome to the channel. I'm going to go through some of the modifications and changes I've done to the robot since last video. Okay, this robotic head was, as you can see now, I've done most of the cabling, though I will eventually plug these holes and the other entrances of cables with marine silicone so it will become waterproof. Inside it's the servos. In addition, I put the Raspberry Pis in different orientation. They had before UPSs, basically battery management systems, bought from a Greek company, but unfortunately their mechanical robustness was really bad and their drivers and software had too much bugs. So I decided to get rid of them, and in the end I will make for all the Raspberry Pis one single BMS that will take care of the power supplies of all of them. Here's a speaker I will put so that one of the Raspberry Pis can output vocal information, words or so on. It's charged by the Raspberry Pi. Here's a sound card. I decided to use instead a USB plugged-in sound card like this one instead of a onboard one due to space restrictions and a few other issues that arose with the drivers or one device I was using. There's the speaker is connected, the microphone, stereo microphone is connected, Ethernet cables are not yet connected. Underneath this one, I don't think you can see, but there's a USB connector that connects to the bus of these Dynamixa servos, which means the one in the Raspberry Pi in the bottom will take care of the motion of the head. As well, again, you probably can't see very well, but there's 3 USBs connected to it, which are the 3 USB cameras attached to the head. And these Ethernet cables will, at some point eventually, they will be connected to a central hub, which is below in the next box. In addition to what was inside the head box, I've added 3 switches, one for the head, one for the left and right arm each. This here is antenna capable of GPS and also Wi-Fi connection, so that through this one the robot can have Wi-Fi connectivity, or theoretically you would access the robot using a laptop using a Wi-Fi connection and an ad hoc network. Here is another one which is an Ethernet connector, which is to enable easy connection of programming tools and, for example, my laptop to the inside of the robot, so I don't need to open it up all the time. This is also waterproof, despite they all need silicone sealants around them. Okay, here's the inside of the box. Here's the underside of the Wi-Fi antenna. Here's the underside of the Ethernet connector. This one is connected to this Raspberry Pi, which is Raspberry Pi version 2B. I decided to use this one instead of 3 since it's just a kind of a central router hub and it will most likely run the ROS core. It's connected to the external Ethernet connector. There's one USB Wi-Fi adapter here. Actually, yeah, you can see better here. This will be running or kind of starting an ad hoc network which will run inside this box, and all the different processing elements of the robot can connect to it. This one here is connected to the external Wi-Fi antenna so that the inside of the robot can have an external access outside this aluminum box. Theoretically, just 2 cables, so I could connect 2 Wi-Fi connections. So maybe I will put a second one from some other point of the processing systems into this, so it's easier to access wirelessly, maybe for monitoring use. There, the power cabling currently looking a bit messed up. Here is another Raspberry Pi and another one here. This one I'm not entirely sure, but I think I will use this one as a kind of central hub receiving the information from the head. The 2 Raspberry Pis receiving the visual and the audio, and the other one receiving the audio information. And these 2, instead of using Wi-Fi, I just opted using Ethernet connection and these 2 USBs here. So this will be kind of an audio-visual information hub. Hopefully able to do also some processing on this one as well, which I'm not able to do in the first 2 Raspberry Pis. in the line. This one here, Raspberry Pi, is for the use of the right side arm, and it has the same USB adapter again, which you cannot unfortunately probably see over there, which is connected to the distribution block, where you put the power supply in, and then from that one goes the data and power supply to the arm, which you can see here on the other side. For now, as power supplies, I'm using this. I glued together a bunch of these backup battery packs for mobile phone use. They seem to be working very nice and last very long time, even if I fully load the Raspberry Pi Freeze. Whether or not I will use these in the future, I don't know. I'm still designing the power supply systems, and I'm trying to, if possible, to have all these externally maybe behind here, so that there would be maximum amount of space for processing units and electronics inside the boxes themselves. And for safety reasons, if something goes wrong, it's better to be outside here. Also here, I noticed that I'm using this kind of aluminum profile as attachment of the rear wheel, and I'm slightly afraid that if it would hit hard bumps, it might actually result in some form of bending. Not much, but however, I'm planning, already ordered the parts, I'm planning to make this part more robust, so it should be able to take all kind of abuse, and I wouldn't need to worry about it. And here's the bottom box of the robot. There's now, of course, the main controller for the wheels. There's an Arduino Mega, which I'm going to use for controlling this box and the motors, though I need to still do some hacking into the Chinese joystick control system. But so far it seems it's a standard TTL based signal, but I need to still do some work on it. On this Arduino Mega I will also add few other stuff, like sensors, for some collision sensors, just to make sure when the learning process starts it doesn't damage itself too much, and also the accelerometer, gyroscopes and so on. Here are two Raspberry Pis. One is meant basically for the hand in front here, or arm, and the other one is to, most likely I will put the other one to process the combined use of the both arms. A lot of electrical cables, connections and so on. Some still to be modified. There's two batteries. The red one is for the head movement. The black one is for the right arm, if I remember correctly, and the one over there, another LiPo, is for the left arm. So far I'm keeping them down here, as this feels relatively safely, though for charging I need to remove them outside, and maybe if possible I will take the power supply externally from another battery, so I could free this space also for more CPUs and electronics.